Grand Rising. Happy Friday. Friday is the day ruled by Venus. And Venus is the ruler of Libra and Taurus. So it is my ruler. Planetary ruler of Venus is not only the planet of love, because that everyone always thinks like the god Venus is the goddess of love, but she is also the goddess of abundance. So it's actual financial abundance as well, but it's the sensuality, and it's also handles our finances. Are you provided for? So Friday is the day to be very aware of that, and green is the color to connect with Venus. So the messages I got today, a lot of it I think is residual from Tuesday, like constantly telling me to clean my energy, and that usually happens after sharing space with a particular somebody. But and I love when Lisa chimes in, like how it ties into my chart on the comments. So it's awesome. And I'll share that whenever I can. But the Ascended Masters that showed up for me today, Babaji. So this is really cool because years ago, I read Autobiography of a Yogi. And I felt so connected to Lahiri Mahashaya. And I really wanted a teacher at that point, like someone to help me with my spiritual growth. And I had not met anyone in the human form that could actually do that for me. No one was inspiring, and I felt so connected to his energy. And so what I did, I approached him at my altar in meditation, and literally it took like 2 weeks of me connecting with him, and I connected with him very fast. So you can do that. This is how we connect with Ascended Masters. You get yourself in full communion with yourself first, and then you have access to them. Ascended Masters are spiritual beings that have reached a certain level of spiritual growth in human form, that they then can live on a higher plane and be fully accessible to you. So Jesus is one of those, okay? So like when people say, I talked to Jesus, maybe they fucking did, like for real. Okay, so anyhow, Babaji was the teacher of Lahiri Mahashaya. And Lahiri Mahashaya was the only spiritual teacher in his day that was asking if he could accept everyone into his tutelage, right? So women, men, but also family people, because at that time, celibacy was the thing that was talked about most. And honestly, there are no hard, like, stay in the box rules about spiritual growth. Like how some people say you have to be vegan in order to transcend. That's bullshit. Some people say you have to be celibate to transcend. That's also bullshit. There are no hard rules about it. What it really is can you approach yourself in the highest integrity, heart-centeredness? Can you do that? It's all about intent. Everything is about intent and discipline. Like, are you obedient to spirit? Can you follow what you are instructed to do? And so if you are instructed, don't eat meat, then don't motherfucking eat meat, but don't tell other people that's the only way to transcend. That's bullshit. And so anyhow, Lahiri Mahashaya approached Babaji. And so Babaji, if you don't know anything about him, he's like the avatar. He is the deathless guru. He, Patricia, when people send a request, it means that you actually want to be on video with me. I know that people get confused about that, but I actually the very first time it happened, I actually put her on and she was in bed and didn't realize it till like the end of the video. So I'm just letting you know, like, you're already on. But anyhow, he is the ageless guru, and he appears to very ascended beings in the Himalayas. And so Lahiri Mahashaya was called to the Himalayas, and he went up to the highest parts of the mountain, and he met Babaji. and Babaji initiated him as a guru. Anyhow, it took 2 weeks and he accepted me as a disciple, as his student. And so I was very dutiful to him. But yeah, see, because I put her on and she was like, what? I didn't know I was on video. And I was like, surprise. So now I just tell people when they send that, because I don't think people know what that means. But anyhow, when he accepted me, I started receiving downloads. He instructed me how he wanted me to sit at my altar, and so I was obedient. But I don't tell other people, like, sit half lotus, you're gonna transcend. Like, that's craziness. Anyhow, that's the guidance I received. And when you open yourself and you are heart-centered and in your highest integrity, your direction will be unique to you, because you're motherfucking unique. So you can't say, like, these are the guidelines. And even when I'm teaching people, and I'm starting to embrace the fact that, yes, I am a teacher, but when I teach people, I always say, I'm just giving you the tools that I have, right? And hopefully it'll help you remember, like, the tools that you were birthed with. And because everyone comes in with a set of tools as a birthright, and you are endowed with the wisdom that you need in order to achieve what you have to, your destiny in this human experience. And people contract amnesia. And my job, my path and purpose is to help people heal that amnesia. That's what I do. But it's not my job to say, do what I do, and then you're gonna ascend. That's crazy talk. Anyhow, Babaji showed up. And so that's very key for me. It's reminding me to connect to my guru. And Haniel showed up again. So what Lisa has endowed me with the wisdom of Haniel, because she was showing up with the moon card, and now she's showing up with the passion card. Like, literally, if you saw how I shuffled the deck, you'd be like, dang, girl, getting the same cards over and over again, right? And so I learned a long time ago, like, you can't take a card out of the deck. You'll get your ass smacked. Thank you, Karan. I appreciate your presence. So Haniel is the angel, the archangel, that brings harmony through conflict. And I see how I do that a lot. The triggering things that I say, and how the conversations that I have. By the way, that last post that I did where I said fuck boys are sexual predators, they are. That conversation needs to happen on the timeline or on a live. Too many people are private messaging me, especially males, talking about that's true. Well, your voice is most important in this conversation, that you actually witness your brothers behaving out of integrity. Like, you're the ones that should be saying, I'm gonna hold you accountable, brother. Like, it's not okay to be like wrecking sisters. Because look, the women that they target are not the women who like to fuck. The women that are DTF, right? Down to fuck. They are actually targeting the powerful women, and they are grooming them just like a sexual predator grooms its prey. It's the same way. They're having deep conversations, masquerading as conscious males, because they know the power of the conscious woman to charge them energetically. And it is not okay. They are sexual predators. And that conversation has to be had either on a live or on the timeline. Let me know when you would like to have that conversation. And there were people, literally, I had a guy on Facebook say, all right, you went over the line this time. I have to get off of your, you can no longer be my friend. And I was like, deuces, because literally, if you have an issue with that, and I know a lot of men that are actually fuckboys felt very exposed in that post. Well, guess what? Sorry, not sorry. Anyhow, so that's harmony through conflict. Thank you, Haniel. Now I understand why she shows up, because Lisa made that comment, and shared that with me. So it was very enlightening for me to hear that information. She talks also about cycles, but she works through the cycles of emotion, not just cycles of the moon. Thank you, Karan. Yes. And I actually had a male say, I don't know if I liked that post or not because I have been in that position. Well, then say, this is how I recovered from being a fuckboy. I'm no longer a sexual predator, right? Come on, people. Let's have this conversation. Okay, so, and that's why it perpetuates, because people are being willy-nilly with their sexuality and treating it as if it's not a sacred energy, and it totally is. Okay, so El Moria always shows up after I share space with this particular person. And so, yeah, I will be cleansing even my space, because what he talks about is a spiritual upgrade that has increased my power, and that I am more likely to be a target of dark energy and vampires, and that I need to protect and shield my energy. So yes, I will cleanse and shield myself, and I'm sharing that. Also, by the way, I still have some Florida water left from the last full moon, and I'll be making a new batch. I make a new batch every full moon. So if anyone's interested, that's usually my go-to. I take the bath, but I also use some and dilute it with distilled water and spray myself and my space. So let's see. Corbin, thank you. Okay, and Karan says, men have to know this is the season that the XY must go back into the XX energy. Yes. Thank you. Mwah. Yes. But we need that support. We really do, because, you know, masculine energy is the foundation. And for women to really embody our true power to create real change, there has to be that sacred connection of the masculine and feminine. And I've done it already within myself, but now it's like, let's do this out here. Let's do it in the consciousness. And I would, oh my gosh, that's my, that is my hope. And so the sacred geometry that showed up for me today was Steam Cave. And I love this because this is the Sri Yantra, and I work with the Sri Yantra a lot. This is a gold-plated Sri Yantra. But the Steam Cave talks about the expanded Sri Yantra, connecting with the elementals. And it showed up in the reverse for me. And so in the reverse, it talked about conflict. And that I am experiencing conflict right now, which is true, even with my mother still. And it says, in order to resolve that conflict within yourself, connect with the elements to purify your body. And so again, it's the cleanse and shield, because I actually do use the elementals to pure myself. Yes, the oneness, the unity consciousness, Karan, thank you. That's exactly where I'm headed. So, oh, thank you, Corbin. You like my Sri Yantra. I'm guessing that's what you said was stunning. Isn't it beautiful? That's my next tattoo. I don't know where yet, though. So if there are suggestions, thank you. Okay, and so yes, purifying what I'm holding on to, that emotion of conflict within my body with the elements. And so I will be doing that as well. And so community showed up again. So I read deeper into it because this is a new deck, but it also has messages through prosperity and relationship. And so the newness that I got out of this card today was, ask what the need is. So I have a purpose in the community that I'm in. So ask of your community what. Okay, I don't know anybody from Idaho. That was a call from Idaho. Anyhow, ask the community that you are part of, what do they need? So I thought I would ask right now of all of y'all, what do you need from me? What can I do to be of greater service? What conversations do you need me to have? Or what do you need me to do? What position am I qualified for that you feel I need to fill in this community? So I'm putting that out there. You don't have to answer me right now, but if something comes right to you intuitively, share, please. And thank you, Amanda. I love the elements too. And so the stone that showed up as my ally today is Seraphonite. And it talks about healing. And so this is healing on all levels: spiritual, emotional, physical. And I really don't have any physical things going on right now. So I know for sure this is the karmic healing that I'm going through because of the Mercury retrograde, right? The review, so that I don't repeat. And so anything that we heal in a retrograde is permanent. Like, repeating patterns won't show up if you're able to recognize them and move past them and behave differently, come from a different perspective and make a different choice. And so, yes, I am definitely doing that. And we have just 4 more days. The 22nd is when it's no longer retrograde. Anyhow, isn't that beautiful? These are actually, they look kind of white because of the lighting, but it's more of a silver, like silver feathery in a deep green. It's so beautiful. But this looks like an owl to me whenever I look at it. An owl is my totem. Isn't that beautiful? And so Gaia showed up, and she talks about my connection, and it says wisdom, knowledge, spiritual understanding. And I do receive lots of wisdom downloads when I connect with the elements. And so Steam Cave telling me that. So resolving conflict through the elements and then connecting with Gaia, I think it'll help me see a new perspective with my mother as well, and hopefully heal that. And emotions are running high. Well, like, hello. I'm a Scorpio rising, like that's pretty much constant. And the breath of the cosmos. And I love this because this card talked about releasing my will and surrendering. And so surrender is a challenge for me. Because I'm always holding myself accountable and doing the work. But sometimes the constant doing of the work overrides surrender for me. And so sometimes I just need to say, okay, I'm taking a break from doing the work so that I can surrender. And so I like the reminder, like, maybe you just need to chill out right now, Sherry, and surrender and connect again, right? With the elements, with Gaia, with your ascended masters. Cleanse yourself and see what the next thing is. And so the culmination is the impossible made possible. And I love this because it's a 9. Steam Cave is also a 9. 45, which is a 9, and then the 8. So 8, 9, abundance and completion. But the impossible made possible is saying that I really don't know. When I surrender to the will of the universe, I really don't know what is possible, but it's going to be beyond my fathoming. And so I'm like, yeah, bring that. But I actually saved the page because I loved the prayer so much. I wanted all of you to also feel it. So, well, it's not a prayer. What do they call it? An honoring ritual. And there's all kinds of messages. Hang on. What am I saying? Gaia is your teacher? Is that what you're saying, Maddie? Because you said my teacher. So that's Gaia, right? Mother Earth. Okay, so Maria says, thank fucking God. You are so beautiful. Oh, I love you, Maria. And Becca says, I absolutely love those palm stones. Aren't they beautiful? They're teensy, but they were expensive. And I always feel like you know, it's worth the expense. Look at that. I just noticed that, holding it in that position. Doesn't it look like a bunch of little like angels, like their little heads standing really close to each other? Okay, so anyhow, I always feel like I can make this expenditure because like I'm rescuing them because they're living things. Amanda says, I still feel like it's hard for me to shield myself. I also feel like it because I've been getting in that monkey mind a lot lately. So keeping yourself grounded will do that. So anchoring yourself in your physical body, and remember to always connect the senses, because it's literally impossible for the ego to take over when you're like, how does it smell? How does it sound? And you're staying present. The ego can't switch on. The ego only switches on when you dull your senses. For the community, maybe share where you find the best information for animal totems and spirit guides. I love the book Animal Speaks. That is such an amazing book. And it has so much information. The animals that aren't in there, when I look them up, I actually study the animal, because really the whole idea of an animal showing up, it's to teach you their mannerisms. And a lot of the cell memory that we have in our body are animal cells, and we can connect and embody the energy of that animal if an animal is showing up in your reality, especially if it's a magical meeting, right? I'm not talking about like all of a sudden on TV you see a lion and you're like, I like lions. It's usually shows up like it's a like magical experience, and it's like, that's no coincidence, right? Like for instance, when Becca and I were driving, and foxes are very shy, and this fox just happened to run right in front of the car, broad daylight, and in a neighborhood. So it was no mistaking that was meant for us to get that information, and it was a red-tailed fox. So I looked up fox. But always look up their mannerisms, like how they move, how they behave, even in their groups, or are they solitary, and really get the information from all those. Maria, I love you too. Yeah, that is honestly, that's my favorite go-to. And I actually loved it so much that I put it on my phone as well, so that if I'm out and about, I can actually do screenshots for people, because I have the physical book and I have the book on my phone. And I don't do that with every book. There's very few books that I have in both places, so that I always have access to them. So, and you are welcome, Amanda. So if everyone wants to shake out their shoulders, close their eyes. And so what they ask this is to lightly put your hands on your throat for this honoring ritual. And just stay connected with my voice. But I love this, so that this is why I wanted to share it. With Rumi, who loves me unconditionally as my witness, I now offer myself into the hands of the all-loving creative intelligence of this universe and source. I release all vows, intentions, or beliefs ever made consciously or unconsciously in this or any lifetime that are based in doubt and fear, holding back from creative fruition of my soul upon the earth. I dedicate myself to love and accept the gift of grace that brings me into greater fulfillment now. May I be blessed so I can surrender resistance and accept what is coming to me now for what it is, a gift of love. So be it. And that concludes this Messages from My Altar video. I love you all. Thank you for sharing your most valuable commodity with me, your time and your energy and your input. It's valuable, and I learn from you. Thank you. And I am sorry for any disharmony that I myself have created. Please forgive me. And thank you for this opportunity. I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, Amanda.